Hi students, and welcome to Module 6 of International Law and Politics of Outer Space. This week we'll look at space debris, and I could give a course on this subject alone. It's one of the biggest problems we have in space now. Have you ever wondered what happens to all those rocket stages after they've pushed their satellites into orbit? Or what happens to all the dead satellites once they run out of power? What happens to all the parts that fall off? Well, the answer is they remain in the orbit they were left in. And it's not like in the movies where they just float in space. They're whizzing through space at 18,000 miles an hour or more, depending on altitude and inclination. So what happens when they cross the paths of other space objects? The answer is they crash and create more debris. There are 1,084 operating satellites in space and twice as many dead ones. 22,000 objects over 4 inches, the size of a softball, over 300,000 smaller pieces of debris, and many millions more too small to track. And how do we know this? Governments constantly monitor the positions of all objects in space. The best positional data is from the U.S. military's Joint Space Operations Center, which uses data collected by a network of telescopes and radars. They use algorithms to calculate a trajectory and then try to predict future collisions, called conjunction assessment. Now, because the distances involved are so great, there are huge margins of error in trying to predict a crash. A big problem is that debris collide with telephone, GPS, or weather satellites, and even the ISS. Each time they maneuver to avoid a crash, they use up fuel and have to interrupt service. There's just that much less time they can make money or do experiments or provide weather or other services. If it's in an orbit that has a lot of debris, a satellite using it is going to be a lot less profitable. So you can see how that orbit may become unstable over time. Unfortunately, space law contains a lot of gaps that create problems in dealing with space debris. There's no binding law, but there are guidelines designed to inhibit the growth of debris, including removing spacecraft and rocket stages to out-of-the-way graveyard orbits. Read the module for a summary of mitigation guidelines and problems with enforcing them, and I'll respond in the discussion forum if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.